Welcome to What She Does, the podcast that takes you inside the working lives of everyday women shaping the world around us. I'm Leanne Starr.
And I'm Annie Sinzinger. And each week, we sit down with someone who shows us not just what she does, but how and why she does it. Plus, find out if you fit the same mold to grab the same type of gig. Let's discover
What She Does, starting now.
Today on What She Does, we're exploring the career of a Pilates instructor through the lens of anatomy, movement, and entrepreneurship. Our guest is Andrea White, a longtime Pilates teacher and studio owner who transitioned from professional dance into a career focused on spinal health, alignment, and injury prevention. With nearly 2 decades of experience and a background in both movement and business, Andrea shares what the job really involves and why Pilates has become a meaningful career path for women at every stage of life.
So, Andrea, tell me a little bit about what is the difference between a Pilates instructor and, say, a regular fitness instructor?
Excellent question. Well, Pilates specifically is relating more to the spine. So it's kind of spinal health. It elongates you. It, of course, strengthens you. But we have a lot of a training in anatomy, and we kind of go deep down that path so that we're really lining up your posture as well as strengthening the whole body from the inside out. So the traditional personal training approach is kind of looking at it from the outside in, like I want biceps and, extra, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Pilates is going from the inside out.
And what kind of, the people that you teach, is that a different sort of subset?
I would say we do tend to attract people that may be less interested in the traditional gym setting, like a lot of kind of intellectual people somehow that are knowing that they need to move, feel a little bit safer in a Pilates studio versus a gym. Okay. I wouldn't say, a lot of people do both. To be honest, I feel like the effects are a little bit different, but the benefits of Pilates include mobility and flexibility and overall your joints feeling good. And so it's a little bit different than traditional gym personal training.
What would you say to somebody who wants to be a Pilates instructor? Because it's a little more complex. You use the devices.
Yeah. It's a long training program. Most of the respected programs are about 450 to 500 hours. So you really spend a long time kind of like as an apprentice. You do observation work. You have to do self-practice work. You obviously have to teach. I would say it's great to really learn anatomy of the body. I was a dancer for many, many years. So that's kind of how I got started. And so I do feel like it's a little bit more organic for dancers because we've already been taught how to properly line up the body. But I would just say if you're really interested, if you're passionate about Pilates and you understand what the philosophy of the movement is, to go for it. Even if it takes a few years to finish your certification, it's really, really satisfying to help people.
What got you started in being a Pilates teacher? You actually own your own studio too, yes. But where did that come from? To go from dance to this?
Yes. Well, so my sister actually got me started in this many, many years ago. I was an actor and a dancer and waiting tables. And honestly, I wanted to do something other than wait tables for a living. And so partially, she was like, I think you should be a Pilates instructor. However, I had never actually done Pilates other than a mat class here and there. I was a total novice and I kind of just took a chance and started this training program, which was a little bit crazy, but it all worked out. And so I got into it really just, I knew my own body needed it. I felt the benefits on my own body and it felt like a mindful thing to do. It kind of felt like a lot of my loves coming together. I wanted to be pre-med back in the day. And so it kind of got to explore that without actually having to go to med school. Yeah, that's kind of what led me into it, was just like, it was going to be like a side hustle. It was just going to be a side job. And then I really fell in love with it.
Then you actually started a studio. How difficult was it to start a studio?
Well, I had my own private practice. So I started around 2010, actually, on the street we are now, Montana Avenue in Santa Monica, with a small private clientele. And then that grew and just snowballed into a more substantial practice, and it got to the point where it just made sense to have my own studio. So at that point, I found an investor and got the capital to buy all the equipment, which is not cheap. And then, I started my first studio in 2018.
Was that stressful? I mean, I know those Pilates equipment is expensive. Making that, I'm assuming that's a moment where you go, I'm all in, and
Right.
oh my God, this is scary. I mean, how did you push through that?
Well, for me, I knew I had X amount of numbers because I had so many clients already. So I knew that just even if I didn't gain any new clients, I knew all of them would follow me. It was a nicer space. It was a more of the luxe experience and more of a curated experience that I wanted to give to clients that I couldn't give at the space I was currently in. I was paying rent, but I didn't have control over like the cleanliness and the bathrooms and, just all of those little things and the vibe and how I wanted it to feel when people walked in. So I knew it was definitely a risk, but I figured, okay, if, there's X amount of growth that will happen. But yeah, most of the business has really grown from word of mouth more than any advertising. Like we do very little advertising.
That's good.
I know, we're lucky.
They're a most loved business in Santa Monica, though.
Yes, we've been in the top 3 for 6 years, I think, in a row. So
Wow.
yes, thank you,
That's
Annie.
really good.
To see that, so I was like, "Oh, that's really important."
Yeah, it's a big
So
honor.
for you, I mean, like it's all run by word of mouth. Like, what is sort of most important to you in making sure people know what your Pilates practice is like?
Well, for our studio, the mindful experience, but also just I want people to feel like they're leaving with a little bit more energy, but also they're centered, they're calmer. I mean, the world is so crazy right now that if we can just kind of take the edge off a little bit, I feel like we're doing a great service to people. So for me, we're really interested in technique and getting the form correct and teaching people to really open their chest, drop their shoulders. And when you actually line up the body correctly, there's kind of a psychological effect, like you're actually more open and you're less tense. So for me,
Okay.
I guess our brand, we're fairly traditional. We're not classical Pilates. That's a whole nother topic, but we're very traditional
Oh,
Pilates.
do you have competition with other Pilates studios?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously in Santa Monica, California, it's a big fitness center. So we have, I don't know how many Pilates studios in Santa Monica, maybe 12. I mean, there's quite a few.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Within the Pilates industry, there's a big spectrum of there are class studios, there are private studios that only do classes or mostly classes, mostly privates. We're somewhere in the middle. We do majority of privates, duet sessions, and then about 12 classes a week. But I feel like each studio kind of has its niche, and like we're known for injury, rehab, prevention, a little bit more of a
Okay.
holistic approach versus like I want to look great in a bikini and be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So, which is a great goal, but that's not really our number one intention with people. We really want to just get them stronger, feeling great, and trying to add a little value to their lives so they don't have aches and pains.
That's nice.
She's making me sit up straighter.
Good.
I know.
Just talking about it, I'm like, I feel like I have to sit up straighter.
But for you, like, if someone was like, "Oh, I want to go in Pilates. I want to start a studio," what advice would you have? What do you think is their biggest stumbling point?
I definitely would give advice to any new, whether it's Pilates or fitness or yoga or any instructor who wants to open a fitness studio. Even though there is a lot of opportunity, I would say work in as many studios as you can or gyms
Oh,
in different atmospheres first. Get in the trenches because you're going to see what style of gym or studio resonates with you. And again, what kind of clientele you're looking for. I think that's kind of, you end up attracting a certain clientele or demographic. And I think it's really important to spend a little time really figuring that out before you just open something without a specific vision. And then also finding other like-minded people because you can't do it alone. So you do need other instructors that are going to help you out, and you want people who kind of represent what you're going for. So yeah, I would just say spend as, say yes, I always tell new teachers, say yes as much as you can. Make the extra money, be thrown into a studio with clients you don't know, bodies you don't know, because it teaches you a lot on the fly.
And you also have to hire people,
Yes.
which I think that is the biggest bugaboo for most businesses, no matter what it is.
Agreed.
What do you look for, and what is a red flag?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say, I mean, obviously, it kind of goes without saying, I want someone who's competent, who has experience, and who really obviously knows Pilates, knows how to teach Pilates. But the communication, the way that they communicate with you, for me, I've learned, because I've had wins and I've had failures with hiring. It really, if there's any flakiness or questionable running late, or I don't know, just all, even with the interviews, I feel like also the humility, I feel like, is really important. Someone who's open to, okay, I know I'm really good at this, but I'm open to teaching, in alignment with the way you want your studio versus my way. I feel like ego, if you can find people who are open-minded and kind and respectful, that's a great starting point. And of course, the other stuff is assumed that they're competent. But I also find that just because you have 8-10 years of experience doesn't necessarily make you better than a teacher who's only taught for a year. I feel like sometimes people are just gifted, and they kind of right out of the gate can really dive in and be a great teacher. And some people take a lot longer to develop. So there's not like a exact equation, but I feel like, the integrity of the person matters a lot. You just kind of get a feeling about someone, like, can I trust this person? Is this person going to be there, reliable, considerate of other people in the studio, and also, of course, our clients.
So a gut feeling is
Yes.
like a good
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like connection.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, it's an intimate environment. It's an intimate connection we have with our clients, where, when you're working on someone's body, it's personal. So you need someone who's open to giving and not just about themselves. And, I think it's just important for someone to be open-minded, I think.
And so, kind of to back up a little bit, like, you're a female business owner. What do you think the biggest barrier is for you, being a woman with her own business?
Yes. Obviously I'm in Pilates, which happens to be more female centric, but I would say interacting, I have a great relationship with my landlord now, but I've had other experiences with landlords and also other business owners that happen to be male owned. You could tell they were throwing a little bit of shade. I'm exaggerating, but you can tell that they think you're a little bit less than they are based on gender. And I mean, partially it's like a generation thing, but I have run up against that a little bit with, one of my neighbors currently.
What's the solution? How do you deal with that?
I mean, it's not someone I deal with on a day-to-day basis, but sexism very much still exists. And I think there is an assumption that, men have primarily been the entrepreneurs for so many generations. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't feel any discrimination necessarily within our industry, but I have felt that from other business owners, I would say.
You bumped up against the patriarchy.
Yeah, exactly. And as a female, I've been like I'm trying to think of who I was talking to on the phone. It was some vendor, and I don't know, or maybe it was, I can't remember the exact vendor, but it was a female, and she said, and I said, I have a Pilates business, and it was kind of like, oh, how fun or cute. And I was like, this is a huge business. And I'm like, fun? Like, well, it's sometimes fun, but it's like you're running a business, and it's just kind of, and this is a young person, but it was kind of that assumption of like I run a candy store or, something. And I'm like, it's a business, and it's a legit business. Like, it's kind of funny how sometimes you do get a little, like, oh, that's so cute. There's a lot more to this than cute. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, maybe they don't realize how big this industry
Right.
really is. I mean, health and wellness got a very big focus on Pilates.
Yes.
I mean, it's Sounds like a great opportunity for young women or women who are looking to career pivot
Yes.
to go into this industry, I would
And on the
imagine.
note of,
You're
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, but you're kind of demonstrate that you went from being a dancer into Pilates.
Yeah.
And I would say even, yes, young women, but even women who are not young. I mean, we've had great teachers when they're mid 60s started to get into Pilates, a career pivot, or they just loved it so much they wanted to become an instructor. And I would just have to say that your age has nothing to do with your aptitude of being a great teacher. In fact, I feel like our clients really like, there's something about, it's a little bit different about a woman who's in her 60s than a woman who's in her 20s, that there's like a groundedness. And yeah, I would say women of any age, it's a great pivot. We've known a lot of teachers who were in the corporate kind of rat race and they did that. They made money, but they felt terrible and they were stressed and their anxiety levels were high. And so that's what they pivoted into, teaching Pilates. So there are a lot of reasons you can get into it, but I would say that age should not be a determination of, am I too old for this?
Oh, I love
That's
that.
awesome. Yeah. Are you signing up, Leanne?
Yes. But, the thing that's most remarkable about this is, like, you started a like, did you do this with anyone or you just did it on your
Just
own?
on my own, yeah.
Which just
Which is
seems
which is
really
good and
hard.
bad. I mean, it's great. I mean, my husband's an owner of the studio, but I'm really the one who's working in it. I There are times where I wouldn't say I wish I had a partner, but it would be nice to have a partner.
Mm.
I have a great staff, I have a great team, but still when I go on vacation, I'm still slightly on. I'm never fully off.
Yeah.
You're always kind of
Mhm.
checking email, making sure you don't miss phone calls. I mean, I'm trying to be better about it now and realize the world will keep spinning if I take a day to get back to someone, especially when I'm on vacation. It's not like I mean, that's the thing when you own a business, it's like it can become freedom or it can become a prison because you're working way more hours is the reality than if you were an employee. So when you're an employee, you get to kind of, leave work at work and go live your life. But when you own a business, you're always on. But again, you
Uh,
can find a way out of that. But that's been my experience. Maybe it's just small business.
I'm just curious, what's your typical day like?
So my typical day, I would say a weekday, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm at the studio by 7 a.m. to start with my early morning clients. I'm only there until 5, 2 days a week. But yeah, I teach about 30 hours a week and then also run the studio. So it's busy. And because I
yeah,
teach
that's
so
a lot.
much, I am doing, work in the evenings on all of the other stuff, payroll and we do promotional
Mhm.
work and yeah, so it definitely bleeds into the home life. So
Are there any other, like, I don't wanna say down points, but are there any other obstacles that people wouldn't know?
again, I mean, I can create my own schedule. It's just sometimes when you start with a client and there's nowhere else to put them and you've been with them for so long, you don't want to just abandon them. I would say the downfall, I would with my schedule, I would prefer to be there in the morning more often for my daughter. It works out. It works out on there on the other end, but as a working parent, you're always kind of shuffling with what's good for my career, what's good for
Mm.
my family, and it's always a balance. I mean, I think any working female specifically. I mean, I know men struggle with it too, but let's be honest, a lot of
Not
it
as
comes on
much.
to the female head of the
Yes.
household. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think also the internalized guilt
of
for women
course,
is much stronger.
yes.
Guys don't have this.
No, I don't think
Guys
so.
do
I mean,
not
I
go,
think they
"I
want
didn't
to.
drop off my Barbie today."
I think it
I
depends. I
do.
mean, there might be some dads like that. I mean, not all, but I would agree with you. I think that it falls on women a lot more frequently than it does for men. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a modern day challenge of this century. Of we've got the
Oh,
degrees, we've got the training, and we've got the proficiency and the skills, but yeah, it's always a struggle, I think.
yeah.
So we often ask people about technology and what technology does to impact their careers or their jobs. What would you say? Any technology in particular that impacts or challenges what you do every day?
I honestly have to say, we're really not a technology based business. All of our equipment, luckily, we don't plug it into anything. It's all archaic in that sense that it runs without anything. We can do it without electricity. I mean, of course, I have software programs. I'm on MindBody for our scheduling, our payments, and all of that. Social media, I'm on Instagram. And of course, there's always the pressure to post and content. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that is a
Uh,
big thing of like, when do I find the time? Like, I have ideas, but, it's again, the days are long and it's hard to videotape and it takes time. But yeah, I wouldn't say other than social media, there's a huge technology component to our career. And thankfully, AI shouldn't overly affect us. I mean, who knows? Maybe in 20 years,
yeah.
AI robots will
AI
teach
is not going
Pilates.
to
But
teach Pilates.
yeah, I think for
God,
now,
I hope not.
That would be weird.
we're
That'd be
okay.
awful. Yeah. But it's like for billing, for keeping track of money,
Yes. Yeah,
that's
no, that's
a big
all.
lift.
You're right. That's on MindBody.
And also like charging credit cards.
Yes. Yeah, that's all through our MindBody software. So we use that. I mean,
Oh,
we need technology. I just mean that it's not
a little technology.
overly impacting, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually impact like the ability to teach because you're
It's dated.
dealing with
Right.
people. I mean, it's an in-person, touchy, feely kind of role. So AI would not necessarily have any part in that. So that's good.
Right.
I
Yeah.
would I would not want a robot to teach me. I really wouldn't.
Well, thank you.
I
Okay.
don't know. You never know what's going to
I
happen in the
know.
future.
Yeah. Crazy.
Let's hope that doesn't come anytime soon. I really don't want a Terminator world with Skynet,
I know.
honestly.
No, no. I don't want like a little cold robot hand, straight on your
Sorry, is
back.
he talking about?
Oh
Yeah.
my
Let's
goodness,
hope
that
it
would be
doesn't
too
come to that.
funny.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Is there anything you would want to tell your younger self?
Ooh, that's tough.
Well, my younger self went to New York City to pursue Broadway and do that. And I guess I would tell my younger self to trust that all of the experiences you have in your early adult life are not wasted, even if you don't go directly down that road.
Mhm.
There are things that you apply. I mean, I was a
Mhm.
cocktail waitress in New York City, and that hustle mentality has helped me as a business owner. So it was
Ah,
not wasted. It was not just, like those skills do transfer, even if it's not direct. And I feel like just listening to your gut of like what really speaks to you and what excites you, because that will make things a lot easier to, you're going to want to study more, you're going to want to get more mentorship experiences, and you'll excel more if you really pursue something that sparks, passion in you. So to just keep gathering as many of those experiences and see where that road leads you. Because yeah, obviously 30 years ago, I would have never guessed that I would be doing this and then I'd have my own business. So anything can happen.
anything can happen. Although I would think for as wait staff, you had excellent posture.
Yes.
Possibly. But that was actually pre Pilates. So yeah, but I was a dancer. Yeah. Possibly I had good posture. Yes.
But thank you for coming and talking
Oh,
to
you're
us.
welcome. This is an honor. Thank you for
Yeah, it was
inviting me
great
on
to
the
learn
show.
about Pilates. I don't know about you, but I've done Pilates once, I think. And on a reformer,
Oh,
the machines, the
yeah.
expensive machines Andrea was talking about. And I actually really liked it. I just hadn't done
Okay.
it again because honestly, I found it kind of expensive when I was younger. I think my body needs something like that.
I know. I was kind of thinking I probably would benefit from this. But it seems like, and also you will get chances are a female coach or
Yeah.
female instructor.
Yeah. I was surprised that it is dominated by women. I mean, 90% plus of the instructors are women. So, but one of the things I did find out is there's kind of a diversity gap. I mean, it's
Mm,
predominantly white women who are teachers. And then, and then you have a smattering of other ethnicities, but it is sort of interesting that there is like a diversity gap in teaching. But as far as like what it takes to become one, I mean, there is an entry level education. Most people have a bachelor's degree. Some have a master's degree, but it really sounded like from Andrea that you really needed to like learn the philosophy
yeah.
and also all of the, precise movements. It sounds like you have to really be detail oriented for this job.
Yes. And then also, it seems like the people that gravitate towards being a Pilates teacher, they seem like they're kind of fun extroverts.
Actually, I think they're more introverts because they're very specific. I think general fitness people tend to be more extroverts. I think Pilates are very precision focused, so that leads me to be more of an introverted person, kind of like a precision caregiver
Okay.
type, very controlled, alignment focused movement. But I think it's about connection too. Like, are they a person who can connect really well with the
Yeah.
clients? Because you're talking about very invading people's personal space.
Yeah. Touching on their spine. Um, and then,
Which holds up your whole body,
that's true.
I thought it was funny. I felt like I needed to sit up straighter as I was talking to her.
But it also seems like you can make pretty good money.
Yeah. I was surprised to find that if you think about on average, you can make somewhere around $70,000 to $1,000 a year doing Pilates teaching, like full time, obviously. Like part
Yeah.
time, I think that would be a stretch.
Less.
But if you live in certain, expensive markets like New York City or, you have a specialized area that you focus on, you can make over 100K plus.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good job salary and flexibility in your schedule.
And you don't have to worry about a robot taking your job.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a very personal. I don't know that you can get too personal with a robot in something
Oh,
like
no.
this.
I just shuddered to think. No. Um, but it also seems like it's growing.
Yeah, I did find it interesting that health and mind body wellness, Pilates in particular, is a huge industry. Like
Mhm.
massive. And it looks like from a job outlook that we're really talking about people being able to have jobs in this field.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a scarcity of qualified teachers. So
Mm.
it doesn't matter where you are. And I think Andrea even kind of spoke about it, like even in our little enclave here. I think that, you may have a ton of different ones, but people specialize in different things or their philosophy is very specific. And so they attract certain kind of clientele. So that's a good thing.
And
It's
also, we didn't really discuss this with her as much, but it seems like this would like gravitate towards people who are like midlife or older.
yeah. Well, I thought it was funny that 40% of the instructors are average age of 40.
Mm.
So that allows you to skew a little older, to make a career pivot. To her point,
Um,
maybe you're in a job previously that's like super high stress and you just don't want to deal with that stress anymore. And so you want to kind of give a little bit back to people. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty good gig for somebody who really is interested in kind of mind body wellness. It's a good
yeah.
it's a good transition, really. I think the one thing that may be a drawback that I found when I was sort of looking at this is you have to be concerned about the physical demands of your own body. Like
Mm.
when you're doing it, but you're also doing it with somebody else. And so you kind of have to be mindful of taking care of yourself as well, even though you're the one giving so much to your clients.
Yeah. I that's something to think about.
Yeah, even if you think that, it's a great opportunity, you should always be thinking about what it means to take on the role. But I think even more so if you're ambitious and you want to open your own studio, I think Andrea had some great thoughts about what to look out for,
Yeah.
when you're dealing with staff and also, neighboring businesses and getting along with them and,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But it was really great to hear her story. She made that pivot too, so it's possible to do.
Yeah. You can go from a dance career to a Pilates instructor or Pilates studio owner. It's kind of good.
Thanks for joining us today. That's what she does, and maybe what you could do too. If you like what you heard, make sure you follow What She Does wherever you get your podcasts.